How many of you are close friends with your coworkers? I bet many of you think you are, and you won't like hearing what I'm about to say. But this is for your own good, so excuse me for being blunt and straightforward. Coworkers are not your friends. You might think they are, but time will show otherwise. Mark my words.
He's having a conversation about offensive words that you shouldn't be using in comedy. During this conversation about this subject, he used the word. He's not calling someone that name.
Right.
He's using that word, and people filed complaints about him using that word. So the people that he worked with ratted him out. Like, he wasn't just allowed to say the word.
Right.
But if you're Chris Rock, you can go up at the OR tonight and just have like 15 different use of that word in a half-hour set.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that was great.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah, but that context is different than conversation. It feels like in conversation, you using that word normalizes it. And that normalizing that word is going to make it easier for people who use that word in a hateful way to use it.
Okay.
See, because I'm very, very, very careful with my words.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Mesley.
Young people come up to me these days and say things like, oh, I would love to have your job, you know, to wear those fancy suits and get my hair done, sit in the studio with lights shining on me. And I'm going, please, I work like a dog for this job. And it's really, really been a lot of hard work.
When she started out in Quebec in the 70s and early 80s, women covering politics on camera were rare. In Ottawa, she became CBC's first female correspondent to cover the Prime Minister. Over her career, she was honored with multiple awards, including for the groundbreaking Chasing the Cancer Answer, in which Mesley investigated rising cancer rates and revealed her own personal battle.
As host of The Weekly, Wendy Mesley is one of the CBC's best-known journalists.
Welcome back. Joining me is U of T professor Jordan Peterson. He's got a new book out. I've read a lot of what you've posted in the last year or so. In fact, you're very careful about saying, please be less radical. Because I also found this picture of you with behind the pet. Is that you? But it's used by the extreme right as a way of spreading messages. It's seen as an alt-right symbol. Richard Spencer wears he's a white supremacist. He wears the Pepe symbol. Here's another one. This is a tweet that you sent out, Keck Boys, which is kind of like another Pepe. It's something that's been adopted by the extreme right, Code Pepe. So you're using this to reach these people.
I want them to plan their futures as responsible individuals. What does it say? Keck Boys, trapped in chaos, seek your fortune, right? Don't stay in the underworld. That's why I'm talking to them. I'm trying to call them forth as individuals out of the chaos that they're ensconced in. And so a lot of these kids are lost in the underworld, let's say, in nihilism, and they turn to these ideological solutions because they don't know what else to do, and they're angry. It's like, I have something better for them to do. Grow the hell up and sort yourself out as an individual. And so that's exactly why I made this particular tweet.
So you've become this huge sensation.
Well, you know, we're in a new world in many ways because of the reach of social media. And so I have this immense multimedia platform, and the overwhelming likelihood, as far as I'm concerned, this will go terribly wrong. That's the most likely outcome. I've known that ever since I made those videos.
What do you mean by that? How would it go wrong?
Oh, well, things go wrong all the time. You know, I say
No, but
something.
what are you afraid of?
Saying something inappropriate.
Well, you've said lots of things that have made people angry.
That's not the same thing.
So why would you say something inappropriate?
Because people make mistakes. And people are waiting. Well, they're waiting with things like this to say, look, well, you made a mistake here. It's like, yeah.
Did you?
No, I don't think I made a mistake. But I'm surfing a 100-foot wave, and generally what happens if you do that is that you drown.
That's interesting.
Wendy Mesley has retired, a broadcast news trailblazer. Her most recent show, The Weekly, ended after controversy. Last year, she was disciplined for saying the N-word during 2 editorial meetings, for which she apologized.
She said she never intended to use the word as a slur. Today, a black colleague is speaking out. She says she used the N-word in full on a conference call with people who work on the show. Associate producer Imani Walker was one of them. Walker declined an interview request, but wrote that she felt this issue was only addressed because there was a black person present to hold people accountable. She added that there's never a case where white journalists can use the full word, saying N-word is sufficient.
Wendy Mesley leaves the CBC after 38 years.